those technical issues were resolved. So hopefully we are back in the present moment without any interruptions or obstructions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the title of our event and our talk today, our meditation is Peace is Possible. Guided meditation in the midst of imperfection. And we could also just say this as peace is possible even in the midst of imperfection. And I can tell you for sure that's very true. Working to facilitate live streams and doing the technical and the managerial and the practice side of things, it can be very imperfect. And for these kinds of things, I I have a little bit of a mindset for perfection. So it's easy to get frustrated, but it's also easy to find that peace in the midst of imperfection. So actually, it doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be any way in particular. Here in Hanoi today is the Katina ceremony. For the past 3 months, me and my teacher and a group of around 50 monks and nuns from Myanmar and from Vietnam have been staying in one place, one meditation center, for 3 months of retreat, reflection, introspection, meditation, doing good deeds, collaborating with each other. And today will mark the end of that 3-month retreat, and it's called the Katina ceremony. This is a tradition going back to the time of the Buddha, when the monks and nuns, the bhikshus and bhikshunis, lived a wandering life, wandering around from place to place, meditating freely, and kind of constantly going around and this led to the Buddha setting a particular period of time where the monks would stop going around, stop wandering around from place to place. And really, it was a practical solution to monks stepping on flowers or fruits or vegetables that were being planted at that time, or wandering around in a place where there was, monsoon season. So if you're living outside in the elements, you don't want to be in a place that's very cold, and you also want to be careful about heavy rain or heavy storms. It can be a problematic time to travel around. So because of this, the Buddha set up this 3-month period, and this is followed by basically all modern monastic Buddhist traditions, with some variation. And on this day at the Katina, all of the Buddhist people who supported the retreat and just people in this area who are interested to participate, to see the monks, will come and make the offerings, make the donations of the robes or new bowls or whatever the monks would need in their life. This is a special time because sometimes it can be very more like the form, like it's not actually that we're receiving new robes, but it can be very the tradition or the image of it. these ceremonies, because monks in the modern day tend to be quite well supported, and we're not kind of wearing out one robe and then receiving another every year. And we tend to not be living outside, and although we may get offered a robe, it's not necessarily a robe that fits us, more ceremonial. It's kind of a ceremony. The ceremony side of it is very, very strong. But it brings to mind very strongly for me this life of living on generosity, living on the support of others, the life of a alms mendicant, and really the joy and the happiness that goes along with the support that I receive, so that I don't sell my time, I don't make deals or transactions or work for people, and yet I am able to live my life as a monk, as a virtuous person, as a meditator, and I am allowed to do good deeds as much as I can. Ideally more and more. I think people support me; they want me to be more successful in the practice, not less successful, right? So there's a lot of joy to that support, and while I don't always have the good condition to thank people individually when they make donations or when they are supporting monthly, it is very deeply appreciated, and I just want to take a moment to thank everyone here for supporting me, for offering me the robe, the bowl, my basic necessities. It is very meaningful, and I will do my best to continue developing in my practice. And I wish that everyone who does support me, whether through their practice or making offerings, making donation, or being a part of the caretakers or the concerned people here in this community. While I wish that you could be here in person, I know that you are here in my heart, so I thank you a lot. There will likely be a live stream of the ceremonies today and the events going on today on the Vietnam Tabarwa YouTube channel, but I'm not exactly sure when those live streams will start or when they'll be up. So I will share a link in the Discord when I get the opportunity to do so. So now this is officially 5 years or 5 Vasa, 5 rains retreats that I have been living as a monk, which means that all of my needs, all of my relationships, all of my activities, all of the places that I've lived and stayed, and really all of the people that I have interacted with over these past 5 years, it's been fully in the context of the spiritual life, the meditation path. this gives me the support and the faith to speak about meditation and speak about the truth or the possibility of enlightenment less as a sales pitch or a notion to believe in, but as a way of life we can all experience for ourselves, we can all tune into for ourselves. It's not enlightenment according to this person or this place or this period of time or, this financial class or situation. You don't need to be a business person. You don't need to be well off. You don't need to focus on making money to become enlightened, to end suffering. You don't need to focus on making money to be a fulfilled person. And actually, because many of us are coming from the Western background, especially the American background, we need to hear this, right? We need to understand that it is more important to do good deeds than it is to make money. It is more important to be virtuous than it is to be respected by others or to kind of get what you want out of life, out of the relationships you have or the environment you find yourself in. It is more important to meditate than to think, than to conceptualize, than to figure out, right? What's going on? What's this person about? How do I understand this teaching? Through practice, through experience, you will understand. Through entering into this present moment experience, you will understand how to end suffering and bring about joy, bring about peace. You can make all the money in the world. It's not going to help you if you don't have peace in your heart and your mind. There's only one place that we can develop peace, that we can cultivate peace, that we can sow the field of blessings. And that's right here and right now. That's right in this present moment, this constant, ever new present moment. Our gathering here and all of Buddhism is just to point to this present moment, to living a virtuous life, to living a generous life, to be vulnerable to present moment experiencing, actually. Because this body is vulnerable and it is also imperfect. This mind of thinking and preference and story and judgment is imperfect. Even if we figure it out to the sharpest, closest, most direct way, it's still imperfect understanding, right? Even if we have perfect memory, it's an imperfect truth, just one-sided. And not just one-sided, but one-sided at one particular time in one particular conditions that you're viewing from now. So we need to be mindful and aware what's coming up, but also to detach, also to abandon, also to give up, to give away. And all of these involvements or attachments or graspings that take place in this life, in this practice of being human, we need to forgive. Forgive that thought, forgive that perspective, forgive that person, place, time, experience, situation. And we don't need to understand this, because what is there to understand? We don't need to believe this. We don't need to believe in Bhante or this group or this computer or this place or environment that we're in. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, whatever. But we should be mindful, and with that mindfulness, a kind of curiosity without biases, a curiosity without attachment. So what is this body? Well, it's changing all the time. You can't grasp it. What is this mind? Changing all the time. You can't grasp it. But the more fully, the more completely you can ask this question, the more freedom you will have. Not freedom to pick or choose, not freedom to like or dislike or justify or argue, or freedom to grasp. But it's a freedom to detach. It's a freedom to be open. For that openness to become powerful, to become unlimited. To become established in a real capacity to embrace not our life, not our story, not our belief, not the others or ourselves, but to embrace mindfulness. Embrace reality fullness. But to do that, we have to become skillful to detach. We have to become skillful to recognize what we think, what we believe, what we're involved with, and to abandon it, to detach from it, to recognize its impermanence, to recognize its temporariness. Even those things we hold to be so precious. For me, I kind of a technology person. I like the technology, and I use it for doing good deeds, primarily. So even this computer that's really useful for me, it's so impermanent, it's so fragile, That's the reality of it. The solidity of it is just cause and effect. It's just cause and conditions. It happens to be this way right now. But I can recognize that it happens to be this way right now, and I can see its impermanence. I can see its temporariness. The body and mind is also just like this, but we have to be mindful to recognize what is apparent. We have to be mindful to be aware. And what should we do? We should do what is good. And we should do it only, or we should not do it only. And rather than relying on the ego or the self that is actually a self, rather relying on that, we rely on the self that is not actually a self. The appearance of a self, or the appearance of a possibility to do something or to not do something, and in that recognize that there's not a self in that. It's just an appearance. It's just cause and effect. So in doing, doing only now. In not doing only now. And this is, it's really like this, it's really true. And what's more beautiful, what's more wonderful, precious, enriching, freeing than the truth, the ultimate truth, the original truth, not the truth of words and phrases, right? We're too attached, we're transfixed in words and phrases. Well, what are they anyway? They're certainly useful, they're there, but it's such a small part of our human experience. Detaching from words and phrases. So when we meditate, when we practice this mindfulness and detachment, we're priming the heart to experience the beauty, the joy, the freedom, the preciousness, the truth that is in life, that's non-contrived, non-complicated, non-biased, not locked into preferences, and yet is so pure, beautiful, wonderful. The sunrise, the sunset, helping someone, listening to someone, being in a state of non-harm, not harming anyone. Neither doing nor not doing. And every reminder, every feeling, every sensation in the body or the mind is this great reminder to come home to mindfulness and detachment, present moment awareness and forgiveness, freedom, ending, finishing, restarting, beginning life from right here and now, or recognizing that life is not separate from right here and now. Imperfect as it may be, Peace is not rejecting any part of life. Peace is freedom in the midst of all life, all phenomena. Use your breathing to be mindful. Use your hearing to be mindful. Use your seeing to be mindful. Don't allow the attachment mind to control your life. Clouds come and go, storms come and go, thoughts come and go. It's not really a big deal. It's not really very important. Why are the thoughts that are happening now happening? Because of infinite cause and effect. Because of your ancestors and your ancestors' ancestors and interrelationships since beyond time and space. It's got nothing to do with, quote unquote, you. Thoughts are to be used only, experienced only. For what? For doing good deeds. What else are we going to do? What else are we here to do than do good deeds? For being mindful, for finding the treasure, for detachment, for being free of the treasure in the midst of the treasure, to use it freely, to offer it out, to share it, to recognize the treasure store inside of our own heart and breathing right here, right now, in the midst of imperfection, in the midst of good, bad, right, wrong. Find that treasure store of the present moment action of mindfulness of breathing, for example. Breathe as if your life depends on it. Breathe as if your breath is worth more than gold, which it certainly is. Okay, gold. Why do we like gold? Because gold holds its value. Okay, your breathing holds its value. That value isn't going anywhere. You might be stressed, you might be anxious, you might be confused, you might be in a tricky situation, not sure situation. But that value in your action of mindfulness is still there. Okay, and the value in the detachment is also still there. Detachment is to forgive, to open, to walk away, to put down. Detachment is the freedom to walk and be supported by the entire universe. To breathe and be held together by that which is totally beyond time and space. However, it's not about feeling good. Feeling good, yes, it feels good. But meditation isn't about feeling good. Doing good deeds isn't about feeling good. Helping the other isn't about feeling good. It's about helping the other. It's about doing good. It's about mindfulness only, meditation only, breathing only. That's it. That's real meditation. No goal, no levels, but serious practice. Seriously sincere. Double down, triple down, quadruple down. Our virtue is a refuge. Our generosity is a safe place for exertion of our energies. Meditation in itself is just a good deed. But once you start to glimpse or know about the truth through the practice of meditation, then you have an experience of panya or wisdom, insight. This body is not the body of someone. This body is the body of impermanence. This thought, this experience, this position, this perspective, this life, this cause and effect is the cause and effect of ever new impermanent nature, not someone, not some place, not some situation. So all someones, forgive them. All places, forgive them. All situations, all experiences, forgive them. And this forgiveness is to resolve. The great joy and success of our community is that we have the opportunity to practice meditation together moment by moment. One hour's notice. Also me, I only get 1 hour's notice as well. That's why I make the announcement. And now we can gather together, and I may be the one facilitating or speaking. I may be the one who's a Buddhist monk, whatever. But each and every one of us, through the good conditions, we have the opportunity to practice mindfulness of breathing continuously, to practice mindfulness and detachment continuously. mindfulness and detachment is not about someone. That means that all notions of someone, to do something, to ask a question, to share their perspective, is only to be mindful. Not to fall into the wrong view of someone who is doing something. When we close our eyes in meditation, it is not because you need to close your eyes to meditate. It's that by closing our eyes, we are abandoning the world of sight. We are detaching from the world of seeing. If you are closing your eyes in that way, then if you are closing them with tension or if you are closing them in a relaxed way, both are okay. But eyes open or closed, breathing or not, seeing, hearing, having a body, having a mind, being someone at some place at some time, this is all just the created truth, just something that comes up. And just in the way that it comes up, it will go away. Not to be clung to. Okay, so let's open the floor for anyone who would like to ask a question or share. And for those who are interested, you can continue to meditate as well. Actually, the practice of meditation is not done over a particular period of time. It is the present moment action of meditation or mindfulness. The present moment action of awareness of what's happening right now. Meditating for a particular period of time is just saying that for this period of time, there may be the good conditions to practice, but it doesn't really mean anything else besides that. The present moment action of mindfulness of breathing. It can also be mindfulness of hearing, mindfulness of seeing, and that is to hear only, or to see only, or to breathe only. And that is a present moment action. It's not some exercise that you do for 1 hour or 1 hour and a half. In this way, we can return, we can come back again and again and again and again. It may sound exhausting, but it's a renewal point, it's a refresh point, it's a direct experiencing point. And it is inclusive of everything. It's inclusive of going to the beach, going for a walk, being stressed at work. It's inclusive of joy. It's inclusive of suffering. And when we develop more and more our relationship to that foundation point of present moment experiencing, we will be able to turn the wheel according to our needs and abilities. To help the others, to help ourselves, to recognize the lotus in the mud, to recognize the potential for the ending of suffering in the recognition of suffering. Which is the really important point. There is suffering. We have to be mindful to recognize that. Otherwise, we won't really understand what does this teaching mean, that there is suffering or there is unsatisfactoriness. We have to be mindful to recognize, these phenomena or these experiences or these people, places, situations are not free, not ultimate. And even if there are many, many positive quality to them, there are also many negative quality or difficult quality, right? Or in my attaching to them, in my grasping onto them, in my belief in that person, situation, experience, etc. There are many negative quality, right? So you're thirsty and you drink water, but you will have to drink water again. You will have to drink water again and again and again. But we have to be mindful to recognize, because things can feel very pleasant, very pleasurable, very good. But even those good things will come to an end. So any grasping onto those good experiences as good will lead to a kind of difficulty, the suffering of loss. And I'm sure for some people it doesn't need to be, maybe for most people it doesn't need to be walked through or explained, right? When you hear that teaching, there is suffering or life is shit, you can empathize with it a lot. You say, yeah, that is, life is like that. Actually, I can share just a little bit of an anecdote. I don't know if that's what this is, but when I first kind of flew to Thailand to become a monk, and when I was first experiencing like international flight and being on a plane, like long plane rides, and just in general with flights, I always felt this kind of fearlessness about death. You know, I would feel, oh, you know, if a plane crashes, then it's going to be very quick, and also I'm going to be dying with a bunch of people. I won't be alone, and you know, life ends, right? So that's what it is. But since I've been practicing and living as a monk and developing more wholesome relationships and kind of having more joy and peace and this this rainbow of the possibility of moving forward in life being more brightly shining in front of me, I will feel that fear about death. You know, when there's turbulence in the air, because I don't want to lose this. You know, I don't want to lose this life. But the reality is that that's not satisfactory either, and that's life. And I once asked a monk who's much more senior to me, much more wise and educated, about this translation. So, of, you know, okay, so is the dukkha, the truth, the first noble truth of Buddhism, is it that there is suffering, so like there is shit, or that life is shit, life is suffering? Which one is it? And he said basically it's the same. It's saying the same thing, but for promotional purposes or for sharing purposes, it's much more beneficial to, you know, to use it in this way, that there is suffering. So it's kind of the same, but there is difficulty, there is unsatisfactoriness in life, and it's going to keep coming up. It's not just going to go away, right? So why is this suffering coming up? And especially in our meditation, if we try to practice seriously or doing good deeds seriously, why is this suffering? Why is this difficulty coming up? Well, it's because of desire for something else, a grasping for something else. Want to feel a particular way, want to experience a particular way. There's very moment by moment judgments being made on what we experience. I like that, I don't want that. I want to go more towards that, I want to go more away from that. And because of this, there's a lot of uncomfortableness, there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of judgment. But these likes and dislikes, this grasping, this desire, this craving, is being done on a very, 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 very subtle level, moment by moment. Right? The mind is reality is way more subtle, way more refined, way more intricate than we kind of understand for ourselves. Right? It's just like, use a telescope or use a microscope, and you'll see how much more to life there is than just the appearance, and that's just on the material side. The mental side is even more refined. So this moment by moment grasping, or this moment by moment attaching, holding on to, is just, it's controlling our life, right? It's controlling every aspect of our experience. This is the suffering. This is the cause of this suffering, this ignorance, this not understanding, this not being free. So, the Buddha says there is an end to suffering. There is nibbana, there is enlightenment, there is peace, there is freedom. It is possible. It's real. Not only is it real, but it's accessible. And then there's a path to ending suffering. So what is that path? It's dana, sila, samadhi, panya. It's the Eightfold Path. And this Eightfold Path is broken up into living your life in a virtuous way, being mindful, and being detached, or developing the power of detachment and living according to the power of detachment, or the wisdom, the insight, the deeper understanding that goes along with detachment. Freedom from grasping. You dare to abandon your grasping. You dare to give up the thought that you are holding on to, that you believe in. You dare to do good deeds more and more. You dare to be mindful more and more. You dare to grit your teeth and feel the pain. This also, you can practice it, but the moment that this becomes a grasping, becomes someone who's doing it, right? The moment that that flip gets too strongly switched of Quran or Sonia, right? And now Sonia's meditating, Quran's meditating, Bante's meditating. That's when we need to open, step back. Still mindful, still aware, but gentle, soft, generous. We need to be generous with ourselves, not in indulging ourselves. Okay, even indulging kind of our health. Of course, it's important to be healthy, it's good, but we should be generous with ourselves to be more mindful and to do more good deeds and to be more detached and to be more willing and able to renounce, to abandon. You know, if you want to be generous, the normal way we think about being generous to ourselves is, okay, I need a vacation. I need to go drink. It's not enough for me to drink martinis in front of my TV. I'm going to drink martinis in front of at the beach. No, that's not generosity. That's insanity. It's craziness. We need to be generous to go on a vacation of doing good deeds. Go on a vacation of mindfulness. Go on a vacation of wisdom and detachment, of volunteering. Wisdom-informed volunteering, wisdom-informed generosity, wisdom-informed mindfulness, wisdom-informed meditation. And that means we dare to question, we dare to look deeply, we dare to be open, but also we dare to be generous. Not just in the questioning, but in the listening. Not for the response that fits our expectation or our biases, but what we can understand, what we can use, what we can go forward with. And ideally, we can go forward with mindfulness and forgiveness. Mindfulness and openness. Mindfulness and gentleness. Mindfulness and simplicity. Mindfulness and patience. Okay, any questions before we finish here today? We've got kind of a busy schedule here in the morning, so I just have about 15 more minutes. If we have a great intention or a big idea, a great idea about how we're going to move forward and who we're going to be and how we're going to act, that's all great. But it's more important that we just show up, be mindful, be simple, try your best, be yourself, which is no self. Buddhism doesn't reject the appearance of a self, but it recognizes that this appearance of a self does not mean that there's a self. The appearance of a thought, the appearance of a story, the appearance of a belief doesn't mean that there is that even belief. The appearance of a phenomena does not mean that that phenomena has a separate self-essence. Yeah, Sonia?
Um, well, I'm very happy, Bante, that you accomplish and finish your. I forgot how you call that. Your
Rain's Retreat. Rain's Retreat.
yeah, yeah. It's great because we were a little bit part of it. Also, we saw a little event, and we can feel all the joy you must have to have accomplished this. And well, thank you very much to share with us a lot of those moments. And I would like to just ask a little question because even, yeah, you say there is no self, nowhere, nothing. And I understand pretty well this. And when we are in meditation, that's what was wonderful is that everything is just fluid and no attachment. And so, yeah, it's not our own story that we're thinking about, but in this world, to, like to work, to make a living, you have to be a little bit ambitious. So sometimes I feel that I'm not enough ambitious. And so I'm not doing everything I should to make a living for what I need to do. And I was thinking not just about me, but even all the young people here that have to find their job, have to find a way to have a living. So we have to find something that we love, right? Because it's a big part of our life when we work for 8, 9 hours per day, 5 days a week. And so to be able to find that job that will be reflecting our soul, yeah, sometimes like I feel it's difficult to uh, don't have any story because I feel that I have to have a story. And I don't want to talk about me, but I think it's the same for a lot of us. If you want to be a lawyer, or an artist, or an architect, or you have to, you know what I mean, Bante, to go that road and believe in you, and so be a little bit in this kind of thing that are not so good, that like be a bit sometimes selfish, a little bit narcissistic, and a little bit things that we don't like after all, but it make it more easy to go and reach our, well, I don't want to be, or it's not that, but to find that good job, or that good career, or to accomplish, you understand, right, what I mean? What can we do to still um, not forget everything about um, yeah, because if you have to do a website, for showing your work, and you have to feel, to need to do it, to feel it's important, to be a little bit narcissistic about it. It's so, yeah, I don't know, it's very complicated to explain, but my question, I think you understand, right?
Yeah, and they are offering breakfast, so I will go after I answer this question. Um, it's not for sure that you will get a good job. It's not for sure that you will have enough money to take care of yourself. Probably not too difficult for people in the West, otherwise we would have a problem in our society. We wouldn't accept like that. The main difficulty and also the main solution is to make merit and to do good deeds. So if we can prioritize to do good deeds, to be virtuous, to practice meditation seriously, to volunteer, to be generous, we will make a lot of merit and the mind will be healthy and wealthy. That's the most important thing, for the mind to be healthy and wealthy. We could do the same thing instead of for the career or the monetary lifestyle, some partner, right? Some people have this very strong idea about they want to meet their beloved one, this ideal partner. It's not for sure going to happen. And even if it did happen, you're not going to be satisfied. Even if you got that job, you're not going to be satisfied for sure. And anybody who's gotten that job will tell you that, right? Even if you get that partner, oh, the worst, right? Right? So, we just need to keep trying to do good deeds, to follow precepts, to practice meditation seriously, and we will be able to change our life and change our mind to be bright, free, healthy, and wealthy. And we should rest in the virtue, not the ideal of the wisdom. The wisdom is insight. It's a direct experience of looking into that opens our heart and informs our mind. But it's not what we think about it, right? What we think about it is just what we think about it. So emphasize to do good deeds, to be mindful, to follow precepts, and just be normal, be ordinary in that, right? In helping the other, in taking care of your beloved one, in being in relationship with the community, right? You just show up and be normal and keep your fingers crossed. And it's not money that's going to be the solution. It's not money that's really going to give you the power of fingers crossed. It's your merit, right? It's your goodness. It's your capacity to be mindful and detached. That's the freedom. That's the protection. Okay?
Thank you.
So friends, let's finish with sharing the merit. So everyone, we can repeat after me. May all the merits that we have done till now
May all the merits that we have been doing till now
be dedicated and shared out toward all sentient beings.
Toward all sentient beings.
May all sentient beings
May all sentient beings
rejoice and share in our merits.
rejoice and share in our merits.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Thank you, friends. Enjoy. Bye.
Thank you.